Hello, YouTube. It is I, Addison, Sugoi Penguin Gaming, makers of my Liege, and we're gonna revisit the Under Construction series today. The one where I do kind of like a pseudo stream of working on the game. I know what you're thinking. I know what I'm thinking, at least. The game's releasing in 3 weeks. What are we still building? And that's a good point. But today we're gonna try to add. And this might be a bold one. I might hate it, I might love it, but we're going to try to add eyebrows to the Meeples. I think they could add a lot of expression to all my talking animations, and I just need... I was tinkering with the animations to fully flesh them out, and I just want a little bit more. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to go through, hopefully, the whole process with 3 goals, I think. One, obviously, add eyebrows in a way where I can animate them separately and bring expressions to the Meeples, where so far the only thing on their face that moves is any mustaches they have. Not everyone's gonna have mustaches, especially if you want to have female presenting Meeples. You can have mustaches on ladies too, but like, need something more. 2 is hopefully we're not going to create any new functionality. Now, I know I know that sounds weird. I'm going to add a whole new feature to the main characters. But what I mean by that is no new like processing code necessarily. I'm going to use all the same patterns that I use for like the hair and other Meeple items. And hopefully all of that will lead in, or will reduce, and this is number 3, keep my risk at a minimum. We are 3 weeks from launch. I would like this to be included in the launch, but we have to write the code and implement it in a way where our risk is low. I'm not gonna risk anything that makes the gameplay loop broken or anything like that. If there's any risk that the game could get into a spot where you soft lock or can't load or anything like that, then this gets put off the table and is like a post-launch content. So those are our 3 goals. Otherwise, I got a cat at my feet, warming my toes. We're listening to... I am going to include music on this one because I've just been really enjoying this electronic focus playlist on Spotify. It's just real chill stuff. Real good. I like it. And double check everything's set up right. Yep. The lighting is gonna... Apologies if the lighting's a little harsh on my... I guess my left, your right. But I tried to close the blinds. Cats do a fit. Whatever. We'll leave the blinds open for them. Okay, so... how are we going to implement eyebrows? We're going to implement them very similar to mustaches, actually, or facial hair. So I have the Meeple pulled up here. And currently, the way it works when we add items to a Meeple is in my Meeple loadout script. I have these anchors that items use to know where to be added on it. So I'll also pull up here an example like a hat. So my Meeple hat, one of the parameters I need to set on the scriptable object is which anchor point to use. Left hand, right hand, body, head, or mouth. So what we'll add here is a new set of anchors for the eyebrows. And then when we add the 3D meshes to the objects to the Meeple, that's where they'll be anchored. So we'll likely position them on the face, obviously. One issue that we have to immediately tackle is when you select eyebrows, I'm gonna want to be able to animate these separately, but like I don't want them to be separate choices. Like I don't want you to have to pick left eyebrow, right eyebrow. That's from a user perspective real gross. So I'm not sure. I'm thinking anchor, we'll have like eyebrow as an anchor point, and then in code we'll know to split it into two maybe. Not 100% sure on that part yet. Because the framework for a Meeple item is it just has one item model. But it wouldn't be too bad to add a second one. And just know that one is left, two is right, or something like that. So we'll need to add anchor point for it to sit on, and then we'll need to build some prefabs for, like a prefab for our eyebrows to sit in. My good buddy Andrew put together a handful of meshes already. We have 8 to work with. I'm only gonna implement 1 or 2 this go around so that we don't waste a ton of time on me setting up 8. And then from there we just have to go ahead and add a little bit of code here to load them in, have them included in the loadouts, and verify things like that their hair color changes when with the hair and stuff like that. So let's just get going. I think first order of business will be to kind of, we'll start with the Meeple. So if we're looking at it, like mouth anchor is actually in the center of the head. It's not positioned at the mouth, and I think I did that because I wasn't really moving the mouth side to side necessarily. It was just kind of up and down. I think though with the we'll just make 2 more anchors here and rename them. Left. Oops, I misspelled the word I. That's embarrassing. Ah! Hopefully this is a little bit more readable on whatever you're watching. I'll still try to narrate what I'm building if you can't read the editor. I cranked up the... I misspelled anchor too. Wow. Okay, and now if we get up close and personal with our guy again. I'm gonna do just a little just a real tiny sphere, so that when I move these anchors I can physically see better where they are on the position. Just as a visual aid, and we'll remove the spheres when we're done. Okay, so if we're... Can I do 2D? The Meeple's looking away from us. Dang it. That's no problem. We'll just rotate the Meeple. Because I'm trying to figure out, so like your eyebrows... I've read... I think your... Isn't your eyes like halfway up your head technically? Let's go ahead and actually face proportions. This is what I was thinking of. I like this. So yeah, like your eyes are halfway up the height of your head. Which I feel for a Meeple would look wild, because that would imply like our eyeballs would be like here, and Well, okay, I say wild, but that's not that weird. And then our eyebrows would be just like north of that, right? Is there any indication there? Not really. Yeah, none of these sketch or these really kind of label out. Okay, well, if everyone had proportions like her, Jesus. Yeah, no real indication of how high up you should go. But that's fine. Because we'll be working with them. How far out for the anchor points? Because here's the thing, once I have the anchor points placed, we'll still be positioning the eyebrows on the Meeple's face separately. It's just kind of where's the base. This is more important for animating than anything. So I think just for simplicity, we'll do 0.2 to the left, 0.2 to the right. Maybe like, whoop, no. How high up did I go? So 0 is dead center. Oh, I did 0.08. Okay. Yeah, let's just do that. Keep it symmetrical. And then as far as inside out of the head, I gotta go back to the normal view. There you are. I lost the Meeple. And the eyebrows, I'm not gonna want them like I kind of want them not flush with the head, because I feel if they float a little bit outside of the face, that's better for avoiding clipping issues or stuff like that. Okay, and then the last question I have for myself is, do I want to pre-rotate? So right now the anchor is pointing forwards, but like I could pre-rotate it, you know, so that like it's more flush with the face. I think that is when I'm rotating them for the animations, I'm gonna be moving the the animations are gonna be like adjusting the rotations of the anchors, not the brow itself. I think I want, yeah, I think I'm not gonna pre-rotate the transforms. Nope. What the? What did I copy? Oh, shoot. The visual aid was moved, not the... There we go. Anchor itself. There we go. And then we'll copy this and put it there. Perfect. Okay, so I think that'll be where our anchors are. Remember, these are not eyeballs. They are going to be eyebrows. And then I think a lot of the hair kind of stops pretty high on the head. So, and that'll be something we can test. Awesome. So we have our anchors. Let's go ahead and I think we're going to have to tackle this question about how we're going to split a single choice into two. Let's take a look at our Meeple item scriptable object that I was showing. And so this is probably the biggest point where we need to make sure we're mitigating risk. This is a mature project. We're just trying to kind of add functionality without breaking stuff, which is huge in like a professional setting, whether it's video games or you're a consultant or you're an IT staff member, software designer, whatever you are. Oftentimes, you can't break production. That's the main goal. So, here's what I'm thinking. Currently, it's a 1-to-1. You pick an item, there is a single object. Luckily, category is separate from anchor, which category, this is the way things are broken up for the player when they're in their character customization. So I think here we go. This is what I'm gonna do. We are going to add in extra stuff. So this is gonna be just for my own sanity. This is gonna be the new stuff. Oh, shoot! One thing. Okay, what we should have done from the very beginning. I'm gonna take that out. Let's say to help mitigate risk, we need to do something outside of Unity entirely, and that is I need to make a new branch on my Git repository. So currently my main branch has on it like a good stable build for launching the game with. And if I'm adding this new functionality that I don't know for sure is going to be included in a launch or future or something, what we're going to do is we're going to create what's called a branch on our repository so that if I like it, great, I can merge those changes in with the version that will get sent to Steam for launch. If I don't like it, I can just keep it separate and siloed away. So right now I'm on Develop 2 branch. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new branch based on Develop 2. And we're going to call this Feature Eyebrows. And my naming standards have been so all over the place here. Oh, shoot. And also, I forgot to pull from Origin after I... Okay. Nope. In a mess. Oh, these are just, okay. We'll discard those settings. And now. Okay, so I didn't explain that very well. Before I started recording, I had merged everything into Develop to my main branch. So with the intent that I was going to start here, and that'd be my starting spot. Now we're cooking. I had to pull in all those changes because I did that on the web, on GitHub's like website, and now this is my local. So now we can go ahead and make that new branch, and we're gonna bring my changes. Eyebrows. I'm afraid we might have lost. Nope, I got. Oh. Nope. Okay, we still got our anchors. Good. Now we're cooking. I'm gonna say that so many times. Now we're cooking. So we've got, which is great. We've got our eyebrow branch going. Now, if things don't go well in this video, we are at no risk of ruining the launch version, which is a pretty big deal. Okay, so in this is our scriptable object for the Meeple items. What we're gonna do is, so no matter what, every item has to have a model and an anchor. But what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna put in a flag, and I could do like a null check to, I'm gonna do a flag for, additional model used. And I like having these checkbox flags better than like doing null checks, because I feel it's just more intentional, you know. And I'm just gonna call these the same, but just with the word additional in front. So we'll have an additional item model we can use, and then a separate anchor for the additional anchor. And so when we're going and taking these items and we're adding them to the Meeple, we'll just be able to add one little self-contained if statement that says, hey, are we using additional models? Okay, add that as well. Which might have, ooh, okay. Sorry, went in my little brain palace there. That might actually cause a problem with our loadout script. So let's go take a look at that. We're gonna try to head off this problem. So I can see how I would add, like how I would process this item to put things on our Meeple. I can see that. But there's the flip side of like when you make changes to your Meeple, how I remove things. So let's go take a look here. Meeple loadout. So these are our anchor transforms. We would need to add our eyebrows there, which we'll do later. Eye on the prize. So the way this is working is every item will have like a string representation, basically the item name. And that comes back to me as like a list of item names. And then we go through, when we're updating the loadout, we'll update the actual model. We remove all the existing items that are on the Meeple, and then we re-add them. So even if you only change one thing, I was more confident in just remove everything, put everything back, because it all happens within one frame. So you're not gonna have like a flicker of loaded, kitted out Meeple, no items, and then back to kitted out Meeple. All happens in the same frame. So add item to Meeple. This is where we would have that additional check. But what are we actually storing when we add an item? So we get the scriptable object, this Meeple item object. We figure out which transform is going to be the parent of the item. So this is the item model. For that item, we update it to layers. And we add the object reference to a list. Okay, we could easily add that stuff. This is just some handling of the colors, setting specific animation flags for the animator. Okay, all that's fine. So if we put in more item references, When we delete them, we just go through all of them and delete them. Okay. And that's actually all we do. Oh, okay. Never mind, we don't do anything. I was worried that there would be a spot where I was like looking at the names and removing them. The last thing I'm thinking about now then is there's a special function I call when I have like a meeple on stage and I want them to I want for that one instance change their loadout. So let's say, for example, your character usually holds a sword in their hand, but narratively they're bringing a message to someone. So I'll have a function that says remove everything from their left hand, and in their left hand put a message instead. So let's go find that piece of code and verify that we're not gonna, like, this design paradigm we're cooking up isn't gonna break. So override loadout, that's the function. Cache, and we do, so when we override the loadout, we store what the original loadout was. I think that's the idea there, is so that if I ever wanted to, I could rebuild your meeple, but I haven't needed to do that yet. We're making the new item list. Okay. So a little problematic, because the item list is going to be the name of the items, which is, I want one item name, like mid eyebrows, to represent both objects. And here we're going to be checking anchor points, and currently in my head, like, on one meeple item, we would have 2 possible anchor points, with one being eyebrow left, eyebrow right. And so this function's a little loosey. Like, if we say clear the eyebrows, would we need to have this anchor points to clear check, like, and also, you know, dang it, like, make sure that it's not in either? Do I ever see myself having a reason to swap anchor, like eyebrow anchors? Not eyebrow anchors. Do I ever see a reason where I would want to override the loadout, and that includes eyebrows? I don't think so. I think eyebrows are something I want to keep static, you know? I did think about hair once. I could see myself removing hair to put like a very specific hat on that doesn't clip well with all hairstyles, you know? But eyebrows. The only thing I can think of is if I wanted to do that GIF with the little Rilakuma. This one. Let me just get my angry eyes. Like, if I wanted to do that, yes. However, since this is like our hurdle, this is how we're going to mitigate risk. We're going to find where this is called. And maybe we just say you can't clear eyebrows. I would have to scrub this list though, and I don't really want to. I guess I could though. Actually, yeah, that's what we would do. We will clean list. So the key anchor points to clear contains. Oh, and we haven't made our new item anchors yet. So, okay. We're gonna leave this broken so that I cannot avoid it, but remove eyebrows from list. Like, I'm just not allowed to remove eyebrows because that is just an area where I think my setup isn't quite ready to support this completely. But we're too late in the game to say, okay, we're gonna change the setup. No, not quite. Too risky. Too risky. Okay, let's let it rip now. So we're gonna do this. So then on the loadout, let's start at the top. We know we have item anchors. So we need to add eyebrow left, which actually this is an enum, so I don't want any capitalization. Pro tip: if you're doing enums, I like to have them all lowercase or uppercase, I guess. That way, if you're ever trying to cast to an enum, so like my JSON files, it's easier to do a string for user readability when you're filling out the files. And then you cast it to an enum. If it's all, since it's case sensitive, just to lower everything, and you'll be happier. But you can't too lower the names of the enums. So, and then we'll do eyebrow right. Oop. And I don't have to put the numbers here. I like to have fine control because, like, for example, these, for some reason I thought, oh yeah, I'll do the more named model types higher than the generic model types. Not really necessary, but. So that's the enum, and then for the struct, this is the anchor points. Like, these are the references, so that the eyebrows I'm spawning in know which transform to use as their parents. So we'll need eyebrow left here and eyebrow right. Good. Let's go check out where these are used now. So anchor transforms, this is when we're adding the item to the meeple. Item anchor dot eyebrow left, return anchor transforms dot eyebrow left, and same thing, follow the same pattern. This is a switch statement. Like a switch case, I guess. I don't remember the name of this exact syntax, but useful for when you're checking the value of something and for all of them, you're just returning a specific thing. And then here's the fun thing. We're going to want to do this for both. So even though you only made one choice on the character editor, we're going to have two objects here. So we kind of need to go through all of this logic twice. For the additional. So what we can do here is pretty simple. We're not returning anything here, right? So what was this called? This was called add item to Meeple. Oh. So we're gonna add. So we're gonna do setup item model. That's what I'm gonna call this function, and we're gonna set up private void setup item model, and we'll pass in. Because here we're only referring to anchor point and item model. Oh, in category. In animation type. Ah, no. Well, actually, category. Yeah, anywhere it's going to be Meeple item and not descriptible object, we need to do separately. Okay. Okay, yeah, so we're just gonna pass all this in. Gonna pass it all in. So we will set up the item model. We need to know I like to list the parameters in like the order we use things in. So we will use this is a item anchor, so anchor point, and then we'll need to know, and actually I can just, this is the goal. We're just gonna rip this out. So instead of looking at the scriptable object, we'll be looking at the one passed in. We need to know the item model. Item model, that was... uh-oh. Yeah, let's put this back. Just so that I can reference it. Item model is a game object, okay. Wait, what have I done? Oh no. I'm missing a bracket somewhere. Here. There we go. So we need a game object. And that's what we'll pass in here. And then we need the, if it's gonna use house colors, so See, I'm already hating this a little bit. Because, so the goal here was I would then, you know, rather than have all that code just once, I would, you know, pass it in and then, well, yeah, oops, oh my gosh. Typing's hard when I know people might be watching. You know, if additional model used, then call it again. But now, because I'm moving the code and everything's getting passed in by parameters, I'm technically changing a lot of things of how normal items are loaded. And that was like one of the things I didn't want to do. But it's real bad code to you know, duplicate all the logic just because I'm referring to a different set of anchor points and item model. So if we regret this, we will maybe roll back some stuff. But okay, we need the house colors. I need the item category. We'll plug that in here. And you know what? This is a lot of parameters. I'm changing my mind again. We are just gonna have a blanket. So we're gonna specify which anchor point and which model we're using, whether it's gonna be the base or the additional one. But then we're just gonna pass in the whole object. So and so instead, you know, for house colors, we'll just look at the scriptable object. And this is actually pretty low key because now I'm accessing the items the same way, and I feel better about that. And the only thing difference is instead of grabbing it from here, we're specifying the anchor point and the item model. Yeah. And then, so we'll do anchor point, Meeple item object dot anchor. You know, the base one, Meeple item object, item model. Throw in the whole object. And then if the additional model is used, it's going to be the same stuff, just with the you know, additional instead. So additional anchor point, additional item model, and we have you know, more than 2 parameters. So I'm actually gonna get a little anal about my formatting and stack these puppies. Yeah, there we go. Okay. This I don't feel too bad about. This logic, nice and contained, and we didn't duplicate a lot of logic now. And so now left eyebrow, right eyebrow, all will work the same. I don't think any of the other logic will have to change. But let's, now that we've defined our item anchors, enum, we can now do this. So this is, remember, we're overriding the loadout. When we're overriding loadout, rather than stress about am I doing it right, I'm just gonna say, nope, you cannot override the eyebrows. Eyebrows are sacred. So if the developer, me, ever asked to remove the eyebrows, we're just gonna say, nah, man, we're not gonna. So if it contains this, then just remove it. You can't. And that's if the other option. And I think I could technically do this without checking the contains first. Like, I think I could just run remove and nothing bad will happen if it doesn't exist. Whoop, not right hand. Ooh, that would have been bad. I like checking contains first, though, just in case remove is doing something I didn't expect. Like, I don't know. If it does something when it fails to find, I would hate to find out the hard way. Okay. Cool. So, the scriptable object can handle 2 models that are on different anchors. That's good. Our loadout, the script that handles actually adding these things to the meeple, is ready to both add and override if necessary. I think that's it for code at the moment. Next order of business, let's go ahead and actually set up one of these prefabs. So one thing, I don't know if it was noticeable, when we are adding items, I load in a meeple item object, that's the scriptable object, and then when we are instantiating the model on the meeple, the anchor is where it's gonna spawn, but I do get a meeple item component right away. And what this is this is the class that has to be on the item for it to understand how to do like the color schemes and the hair colors, basically. And so there's a prefab that I use to enforce all this. So I'm gonna go into meeple items. This is the big bucket of scriptable objects. But first, we need to make the models. Or we need to turn the raw 3D meshes that came from Blender and make them into my prefabs so we have all the proper functionality. So I have this hair-based prefab. It doesn't start with anything, but it has on it like the attached components I need. That base meeple item script I mentioned, as well as the hair color handler and an LOD group for calling things that are too far away. So we're not always rendering eyebrows, even if they're not visible, you know? And so we're gonna use this. I'm just thinking about naming standards. So the way we'll do it is we have that prefab, so I'm gonna build variants off of it. We're gonna call it eyebrow. Do I want to say eyebrow left, then which one specifically it is? No, because then I would have all the lefts and all the rights alphabetically. So I want eyebrow, the name of the eyebrow, and then the left or right so that they're next to each other in the lists. So I'm just gonna start with eyebrow standard. We'll probably rename it or something. Left. And then once we have it all set up, I'll copy it. So the way I have gone about this in the past is we'll actually add this to the meeple for visual reference. And you'll see there's no child objects on this guy. So we're gonna add it, add the 3D model, and then plug everything in and apply the overrides to the prefab. But we're gonna do it with like our mannequin here, our meeple mannequin. Let's see. Do we still have the? Yep, we still have the eyebrows loaded in. So let's see which one are we gonna use first as an example. Brow 1, as good a place to start as anything else. So we'll just kind of drag that in, and this is why I use a prefab to wrap around these objects. Is they almost never come exported out of Blender perfectly, and this is not a judgment on my boy Andrew, or the way that he used Blender, it's tough. They use like a different coordinate layout and stuff. Also, you'll see the export came with both, but they're separate objects. So we're gonna start off right away. We're gonna right click and prefab unpack. Can't remember, unpack or unpack completely. Just unpack, because there was only two objects. If there was a lot of things, you know, like prefabs and prefabs, then you use unpack completely and it tears all of it apart. Okay, so now we're doing good. We are doing the left eyebrow, so we're only caring about the left at the moment. So I'm actually going to remove the right eyebrow. And then now what the task at hand is we move and position this eyebrow so that it overlaps with where we want it on the face. All while importantly keeping the topmost layer, the parent, the actual parent that has like Meeple item, and we have to keep, well, I want to keep that transform 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, so that when I instantiate it, here, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to specify its position. I don't have to specify a rotation. It's just gonna be where it's supposed to be. Right on that anchor. So we're going to be moving the mesh of it. And you see here, because the import had this left brow as a child, I'm actually going to remove that extra layer of parent. I just don't need it. And so we'll just kind of shift our eyebrow, and I'm gonna remove it from center to, or pivot to center, just because that's what we care about right now. And like I said, we might be just trying to keep it a little bit off the face. We'll see how that feels in practice. I don't think you'll ever get like a camera angle that could like embarrassingly show that maybe a mesh doesn't have a back or something. Even though I think he made them all that way, but like, you see, if we get into a clipping situation, it gets a little strange. So I would like to keep it floating. Just trying to kind of like maneuver around here to see how we need to rotate it slightly. And then size-wise, let's turn off the... That's pretty big. You know? It's just a little big. Let's go ahead and add the other eyebrow first, though, before we maybe jump to conclusions, you know? And now that I look at it, actually, considering this is like the middle of the head, we're going to be close to a unibrow situation. And so actually, I'm just going to make both of these at the same time. So we'll bring in our eyebrow right. Nope. Put it at 0, 0, 0. And we're going to add to it that same model. Once again, we'll unpack it. And we're going to remove the left from this one. We're going to remove the in-between parent. And now let's position. Oop. Kind of a goofy rotation there, but we'll look at our guy head on, maybe. Yeah, I think our eyebrows are just too wide. Also, these spheres are like throwing me off as like eyeballs. But that actually doesn't look too bad, you know? Let's resize them a little bit. Do I want to resize them? Like this is the artist's vision, Andrew's vision, you know. Let's just leave them the same. Let's just kind of make sure that we got like roughly the same kind of spacing and how they're mounted on the face. Because remember, these will come in pairs, even though we're building 2 prefabs for them. So I think this eyebrow just needs to be a little bit farther out. Okay. And then rotation-wise, it flares out quite a bit on the edge there. And that actually might have been why it... this eyebrow could actually flare out a little more. Are we looking on this end now? Push out a little bit. A little bit there. I guess, are these mirrored? Could I just be using the same numbers, like 95 on this one and 85 on this one? Looks like it. And then just to test the waters a little bit, I'm gonna grab a couple hair. So like if we put long hair on this guy, on this lady, like that. Ooh, already like that looks good. And like, oh man, you know, maybe they, where are all the, like a mustache. That's one of my least favorite mustaches. Oh my gosh, and then I added the same mustache twice. You know, this is, yeah, I'm okay with this scaling maybe. Let's try one more hair, like the Royale with cheese. That's actually a fairly long hair too, but yeah, this one stays pretty high up on the head. This isn't a 4-head anymore. This is a 5-head. Maybe the eyebrows could be a little bit higher up then? And in this case, it would be the anchors we're talking about. What about just like short hair? A very standard hair. Oh, see, now the hair and the eyebrows overlap a tiny bit. And then, oh gosh, what if and we toss on a Tyrolean hat? Like, whoops, I missed. I did not add it to the right anchor. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so I think that's the trick. The eyebrow anchors just needed to be up a little bit. Oh man, this is looking good. Okay, let's take out the extra stuff right now. Okay, so after positioning things, now I just need to plug some stuff in. So, for example, on my Meeple item, there's the hair color handler, and we need to just tell it one thing, and it's basically which renderers on the brow or on the object need to be updated with the right hair color. So you'll see here, there's only gonna be one renderer. I'm gonna drag over the reference to the brow because the brow has the mesh renderer on it. And then, do I want like all these brought materials with them in the import? Part of me wants to have just like a singular eyebrow material in case like I want to add a little bit of texture later. I only have to change one thing, not chase them around. So I might reassign them all to a flat texture or a single texture. What do I do for the hair? I think I did that for the hair. So like, let's take a look at that mustache. Yeah, so for the mustaches, I did the same thing. I had a default hair to use. I used the same one that was used for a lot of things too. So let's do that. We're gonna take hair brown and we're gonna copy it, but we're gonna call this hair eyebrow default. And this is gonna be the material we use. So we'll drag it in. Same for this guy. And then I don't actually have to change anything here. In order for the hair color script I wrote to work right, I have to provide the renderer, but also which material on the renderer we're referring to, because for some meshes you have lots of materials, or multiple materials. You know, this is an array, so I have to tell it the number, but 0 is where we're looking for. And then the last thing is just setting up the LOD group. If we look at this mustache, for example, it's 100% to 1%, you know, and I think we're just gonna copy probably this transition, like screen percent size. And I actually don't remember, like, can I just drag? There we go, yep. And so we can see, like, the eyebrows are called now, which, that's pretty far away. But we're also programming this for the farthest render distance. With the quality settings on Unity, the way it's handled is when you go to a different quality setting, it has a multiplier that it'll apply to these LOD groups. So that's what that LOD bias is. So if I was using a lower render distance, like maybe that cutoff would be about like here, and that's fine. That's good. So I like programming for the highest level, and then everything else is kind of like a reasonable compromise. I can see the other direction, like programming or setting things up with your lowest setting in mind to make sure that your lowest setting isn't dog water, but I think that's, in my head, it's more valuable for me to program for the high end because I'm not a cutting edge, you know, we're not blazing any trails here. So I think that's this one. We just need to set up the right eyebrow the same way. Ow, cat! Sorry. Cat used claws on my... What? I would give you a cat check, but I'm not putting my feet on the internet for free. Oh, and this one I didn't do the renderer on the hair. So there we go. Cool. So now we need to just set this up as a scriptable object so that our code can load it. So first things first, we have these prefab here with overrides. We're going to apply them all. And I should be able to, and I'm just going to turn them off for my sanity so we don't accidentally lose them. But like in practice, what we're going to be doing now is we'll have, okay, well, let's say we added the standard eyebrows to our guy. We would just put the left on the left anchor and the right on the right anchor. Perfect. And just a little, oops, a little test, like let's say we're animating this. And we want to, like, he's surprised. He's upset. Oh, no, he's got, like, confusion. But, like, okay. You know, we can, like, rotate him in for angry eyes. We could, like, inquisitive. what's it? You would like. But yeah, so just by moving the anchors, we can manipulate these perfectly. Oh, this is looking great. Okay, so we can remove these from our guy. We want our meeple back to normal. Ooh, before we forget, on the meeple loadout, we did add 2 new references that need to be supplied. So our eyebrow left and right need to have their transforms assigned. Left, right. Okay, good. Oh, didn't want to forget that. And these visual helpers, I'm gonna leave for now, just in case I want them later as I'm like setting up more models. But we'll be deleting those in the long run. Okay, so we have our prefabs. Now what we need to do is we need to set up a scriptable object for these. And we can see on our existing ones in the inspector over here, I have those new fields that I added: additional model use, additional item model, anchor points, whatever. They're all false because that's just the default, which is good. We want that. This way, none of the existing items will be impacted. But let's add some new ones. I'm just gonna use. I was gonna use one as like an example to be based off of, but let's create custom data, a meeple item, and we're gonna call this eyebrow standard. One option is like, okay, are we gonna group these separately for the player? Hair and facial hair are pretty different than eyebrows, so yeah, let's go ahead and find that category and add to that enum. So it's referenced here and it's stored in the item library. Good, we'll be updating the item library soon enough. So head, hair, facial hair, add in eyebrows, or eyebrow, brows, eyebrows. Yeah, oops, need a comma. That's kind of gross, cat. I have a cat cleaning my foot now. I'm not vibing with it. Okay, excellent. So now we save that. So my new eyebrow. I'm gonna pop these out so I can see it a little easier. We'll set it to eyebrows. Display name for our base eyebrows. I don't like calling an item normal. Or standard, because then it makes it like everyone else is more interesting. I guess I did mustache 1, 2, 3, so like let's just start there. Eyebrows 1. Okay, so for these, we're gonna use these extra, and I'm just gonna put in my anchors right away so that I grab the right ones. So eyebrow standard left is paired with eyebrow left. Eyebrow standard right is paired with eyebrow right. Good. We're not impacting the color of them through house colors at all. There's no special item animation type, and we do not want to exclude it from the editor. We want them in the editor. There we go. One other thing I was thinking of is with the house colors is let's check out our loadout. So when we're setting up the model, we update its layer so that it renders and is seen by the right cameras. We check if it's house colors, and if so, initialize the color scheme. And then we check the category and update the hair color. So I should have done a search on this. So I'm gonna find all instance. And verify if we need to add anything. So here we need to add a case for eyebrows because we want our eyebrows to change with the hair color. Oops. And then this is specific animation stuff. That's fine. And then the things in Meeple item library we haven't done yet. We will review later. That's all in how the game loads the files. So we'll tackle that. Don't worry, but just one step at a time. And then yeah, this is how we update the drop downs, which is strongly based in how we load everything. So okay, we're good. We're good now. Last thing we need to do is on this scriptable object, you'll see it's not labeled as an addressable yet, which is how we manage storing and loading the files. So I need to add it to a group. I think all my Meeple items are just in one, including like hair and facial hair. So we'll keep adding it to that group. So eyebrow standard goes in Meeple items. It is now an addressable, and we will right click on the addressable group and simplify the name so that it's not the default name is like the entire file path, and I just want the scriptable object name. That makes it much easier for me to set up the loading process. Okay, so what have we accomplished so far? The Meeple has anchors for the eyebrows to live on. It knows how to find them. The items can support one item choice, can support multiple models, so I can have left and right. I've set up the prefabs for those, where the model, where the meshes are located at the right position so that they line up with the anchors. The scriptable object is made and it's addressable. The object is set up so that it has the right categories and anchors and all that. So I think actually, yeah, we're to the point where I need to update how we load these files in, how the game finds the files, and then add eyebrows to the default Meeples that run around town, and then we can start testing. Up to this point, we don't really have anything to test yet. This is kind of, you gotta set up every piece before you can really hit the play button. But yeah, let's dive into that next. Okay. So let's talk about how I load these things. And this should be almost... I don't want to get too excited, but this should be really smooth. So, for better or worse, the way I'm loading these is on startup, I load a static library of all the items. We have the item dictionary, the hair color dictionary, the loadouts for generic Meeple models, and then we make calls to this library anytime we need things. So you saw it during the loadout. Where was it? Here, if we know the item name, we're going to call Meeple item library to go get the Meeple item. And so this is just pulling it straight from the dictionary based on the item name. How do we load this dictionary is what we're going to be editing right now. I just don't remember where it is in this code because it's been a while. Oh, here we go. So it's an async operation because when you're loading from the addressables, you don't want to like wait until the file's loaded. You want to do all this asynchronously. So Meeple item loaded is the completed event on the addressables load asset async. So basically we're going through all of the Meeple item names and loading them, and then adding them to the appropriate dictionaries once the scriptable object's loaded. And we do this the same with the colors. The colors also have scriptable objects, mostly to store details like how do you actually want to display the name versus the name on the background, stuff like that. So we're loading all the items in this item file names, and to keep it a little bit separate, so I don't risk blowing up how the item library is actually loaded, I just have this little script, this Meeple type loadout script, that'll actually populate this list. So let's go to that. Populate the item file names. And ta-da! I don't know if this is the best way to do it. One nice thing is I can put things in like, one thing I was thinking of originally was like, should have this code just look at this folder. Anything in the folder that's the right file type, load it in. One thing I don't like about that is like, that means if I put something in the folder that's half baked and not ready yet, but I get distracted and I have to fix like a bug somewhere else. Now I've got errors of half-baked things being loaded into this library, and I wanted to be much more intentional. When things are ready, you put it in the list. So we just need to grab this is the name of the addressable. So that's why I did that whole simplify addressable name, so it would just be eyebrow standard. So we take that, come over here, we add it to the list. And that should be all I need to zipper this in with my existing items, hairs, and whatnot loading process. That just loads the file though. If we want to have Meeples actually use it, then I gotta come down here to the different loadouts that my Meeples can have. So I mentioned earlier that my loadouts are just string delimited lists. But not even string delimited. They are just like a C# list of items, string names. And so I need to sprinkle this in here. If we weren't about to launch, I would be reinventing this. It's too it's repetitive and it's restrictive at the same time. What I would really like is for a Meeple's visual appearance, so their hair, eyebrows, facial hair, to be divorced from the items they hold or wear, you know? Have like the Meeple's physical loadout and the Meeple's accessories or something like that. That's not where I'm at, and I'm not taking. That's a big risk. We're mitigating risks today. So what we're gonna do is, I'm pretty sure I want everyone to have eyebrows. You know. But since I want to test to make sure that we're not just blanket adding eyebrows to everyone, we're just gonna take a couple of the farmers and we're gonna add eyebrows. And actually it's just that same string. So some of them are going to get eyebrows, but not all of them. And this is, I guess to further explain, this is just a big list of possible loadouts that any farmer can get. And when I instantiate the farmers into the scene, it pulls a random loadout from this list. So that's why I know some of them are going to get eyebrows, some of them aren't. And that should be it. I'm going to double check my item library logic here, but I don't think anything else in here needs to be changed. Like for the drop downs, we have logic that like builds what the drop down should look like based on the enums and stuff, but oh no, the categories have like a function here to specify what the display name is to the user. There we go. Otherwise, everything else should be good. And you know what? I'm a brave boy. Let's just try it. Let's Let's find out what's broken and what's working. So we're gonna minimize that. We're gonna leave our meeple. Initialization scene is changed. Whatever, nothing changed on it. And then I need to do one thing. I'm just gonna tweak a couple things to make it simple. Have just lower chance of things breaking. Turn off some stuff. But for the most part, this is gonna be how the game runs. So this will be a very accurate test. Uh-oh. Jellybean's getting a little feisty now. I got up and got a snack. This edition of Under Construction is brought to you by Pringles. I don't know what their current tagline is, so I can't even fake this commercial correctly. So that means Jellybean's on the loose, and we'll give you a cat update. There we go. Also, I got a haircut recently, and this is the shortest I've ever had the sides, and I kind of like it a lot. But here's Jellybean investigating the snack bowl. You get also a sneak preview of my lighting setup. Very impressive picnic can of snack holding up the lighting. Jellybean is investigating now. Say hi to the camera. Or not. You big fluff. Oh, nope. He's giving you a close-up. Oh, no. He's keeping an eye on the snacks for me. Okay. He's an executive producer that likes to micromanage. I can't blame him. Okay, back to normal size. Is there anything else I need to do? I don't think so. Let's go. Let's just let it rip. Are you silly? I'm still gonna send it. Okay. So far, so good, but also, there's no meeples at this point. No errors in console. Take a look at some of our farmers. Oh man, they've got... I saw a couple eyebrows. We're gonna pause things so we can more closely inspect. Okay, you've got eyebrows and they're the same color as your hair. Good. That means the hair color logic is working. You're a guard. This is looking promising. Everyone with a rat tail has eyebrows. And actually, let's mentally check. Which loadouts were we expecting? Some pitchforks and hoes. Some people with hats. Some people with just short hair. Some people with just ponies. Wait a minute. That's the short hair? This looks like... Oh, no, that's ponytail. Not rat tail. My bad. That's the hair pony. Okay. And then, let's see. Let's find a farmer. You don't have eyebrows. But you're a pitchfork balding man. No, that's not a pitchfork. That's a hoe. Hair and balding. Or hoe and balding. Good. The balding hoe. A classic. There we go. Look at that. Killing it. there's a bigger question to be had here of, is this a good change or not? I have a cat in my way. I'm trying to... There we go. Are you gonna get up there, champ? There you go. Good jump. This cat tree is getting kind of flimsy. Or they're getting kind of fat. Okay, this is the hard part. Is this a good change or not? It is tough to say. Because mentally, I've looked at these Meeples for so long without eyebrows. And now the idea that they'll sometimes have eyebrows. Why are you looking the wrong way? I turned the Meeple! No, I can't have that happen. Everyone's looking the wrong way at the start. Okay. That's easily fixable, but that's real funny. Way back in the beginning when I tried to do that, the 2D view to line up the anchors right, I took the model and I did a 180 on it. Gotta get rid of that 180. Okay. Whoops. So I'm just playing it long enough to customize my house. So let's check this part. If we add, and sorry, let me zoom in. We add eyebrows. Eyebrow 1. Oh yeah, there's only one option, so. Do I like that better? Oh, that's a tough question. I think I kind of I'm torn. When I added hands, that was like a third of the way into the project, and hands were like a instant success. I loved it immediately. I'm like, you can tell which way they're looking. They're gonna be little hold things. This though, I guess I might feel much better once I animate them. I'm gonna stick with them in development for a while, but I really think I want them to be better, so I'll believe. And then this is overlapping. I need to fix that, but just for fun, I have 2 sets of eyebrows. And now if I go back, yep, my guy's got it. Oh, yeah. If you have duplicate of the same item, I cleaned the list. This is probably an error, but... we're looking pretty good. One downside of having the eyebrows not anchored to the face so much is we might get a little bit of a goofy situation with the shadowing. I mean, keep an eye on that. I think it's still the right choice. Because like you look at the hair, we try to avoid clipping when I mounted the hair onto the Meeples as well. But I'm just going to keep an eye on the shadows, because shadows are an easy way for the like a model to show flaws, if you know what I mean. Like I've built some buildings or whatnot where like it looked fine visually, like 2 walls meeting, but then with a light source, it would occasionally the light would peek through. And there's ways to avoid that, I think, on the shadow settings and that side of things, but also you could just build your models better, so and to like overlap a little bit to not allow light through, or if you overlap a bit, you're less likely to have Meeples like or objects teleport through an object or clip through a wall, you know? Whoop. Oh, my Steam settings broke. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my Steam login, so that's what that error was unrelated to the new stuff. I think we're good. I'm happy. And oh, let's check hair color. Yeah, changes with it. Blonde looks good. Orange looks maybe the best as far as just like the color pairing goes. But either way, I'm gonna call it good here. I think we did our 3 objectives. Eyebrows are in the game. I'm gonna be able to animate them nicely. I thought maybe I would do a little bit of animation work in this video, but we're at an hour and a half, and that seems pretty comfortable. That's faster than I thought this would all go. I was able to add them all in. I have a good workflow set up for adding in, or like setting up the other eyebrow models in a very consistent way. We managed to merge the logic in a low risk fashion. The biggest change was simply in our loadout code, extracting this chunk of code that handles setting up the actual 3D model in game and extracting it so we could run it twice, one for each eyebrow. But technically speaking, all of the existing items will go through the same logic they were before, and just a nice quarantined bonus round logic that wasn't there before but should only be impacting eyebrows, not anything existing, so keeping our risk minimal. And I don't remember what the third objective was. I think it was all about risk. But yeah, I could see myself making a 180 and being like, I actually really want the old visuals back and canning eyebrows. But I think they're gonna grow on me very quickly. It happens every time I make a big change. Like when I made the lighting and colors changes to the rendering, and the game looked quite a bit different. I was like, oh, I hate it. This isn't right. But now that I look at it, I can't see anything else as beautiful. But yeah, that's gonna be it. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully this was either informative or entertaining or just good background music as you did your chores you've been putting off or cooking dinner. If you did make it here, go wishlist the game. I'm guessing you already did if you watched all of this, but hey, go wishlist it. Coming out March 31st. Get excited. Lead your house. Make cool meeples. Absolutely fuck them up with lots of eyebrows. And I will catch you guys later.